In December of 2020, the governor of the state of Texas named Denison a music-friendly city. We want to tell you about our rich musical heritage. This is a sesquicentennial project for the city of Denison.
The 70s is where we got started here in town. The downtown area continually. My brother accumulated a fleet of all kinds of amazing vehicles. We had an entire fleet of 50s police cars. We had 50s style, Studebaker style taxis. We had transit buses from LA. We had all kinds of we had double-decker buses. We had all kinds of cool stuff here in Denison that we'd use for commercials, for, flashback type stuff, for movie stuff. People needed stuff for movies. We did a lot of really fun, crazy events here. I mean, we even had somebody jump off the roof of the hotel with a huge crowd. Yeah, we'd have our stunt guys jumping off that, for stunts, and we'd have gunfights, machine gun fights. We had a lot of really cool old-timer friends that were reenactors. A lot of them are gone now. They're all dead. But all these reenactors, they were hardcore. They had all the weapons. They had all the Tommy guns. They had all the old gangster cars. They had all the paraphernalia, all the uniforms, everything. And we would have serious gunfights on Main Street and crazy stuff down here with old gangster cars driving through with machine guns and everything. It was a lot of fun. And we would put on big shows back in the 80s and 70s. Okay. But, we went through that period and then got right into the 80s. And then the 80s, I became extremely busy, just traveling constantly, trying to keep our business going, which was mainly advertising. But we're all musicians and we all love music. And that's what we're talking about is music. So I said to Shelley, in the mid 80s, it was probably around 86 or so, I said, Shelley was actually still playing in bands and running around with his music career. But he was kind of getting more grounded, and I was letting him work with me, writing music here and writing jingles and work with us.
So Joe was kind of the jingle guy. Then I got into it. I kind of become the other jingle guy. And my concept on writing jingles was to make them sound like a song, not a copy, but make them sound like this is a song, not like it's somebody else's song. It's like your song. And you did the performance like you're singing a song, a performance, as opposed to doing a 6-voice stack. Sing with backup singers and all that stuff. The big cushy layers that's fabric of a lot of singers, this was just a one singer deal. And sometimes it'd either be me singing them or we'd need somebody a little louder. We had other singers that we'd use that were great singers. Eric Tagg that wrote Mr. Briefcase, he and I wrote jingles for him and he would come up here and sing. We've had so many awesome musicians in this building, actually just it's incredible. Started playing a little less music and started working more on creative with Joe.
And he got really involved with us and started selling and doing things like that. And we got a lot closer and we started, doing more things. And I said, Shelley, why don't you go to Nashville and just spend a month out there? I'll pay for it. Just go out there and just see if you can get us into the music business somehow. Because we had Sid Watley. I don't know if you remember that name, but Sid Watley was somebody that I was working with from the late 60s. And he heard my voice and I heard his voice. And we both got together because he was fascinated with my mic sound. I got this sound using this on a mic that nobody could get that I stumbled into and it was a very simple thing, but it was like magic. I could turn my voice into magic using this little gadget I found. He wanted to see what he would sound like using the Shure level lock and all that. So we met that way. And then he ended up working with me and we started writing together and playing together. And he became part of Plero Media as one of the key people. Well, Sid was quite a performer and so was Shelley. So what we did with them is we basically kept recording. We recorded music videos, we recorded songs, we wrote songs, we did all kinds of creative stuff. And we started trying to promote. So I said, Shelley, go to Nashville, get us into the business. Just stay there until you can get us in. Anyway, he was there an entire month. Nothing had happened so far. And he finally came back. I said, well, come on back. He met a lot of people, but nothing had happened. Okay, so I said, well, let's come on back. I was wanting to let's do music videos, let's do anything, okay? And he came back and he said, well, I did get this one guy's number. His name's Rick Blackburn.
I was at a bar out there. It's called the Nashville Hall of Fame. It's called the Hall of Fame bar. I'm sitting up there, I've ordered some hors d'oeuvres. I'm having a drink. And I sit there and I have another drink. There's these guys sitting next to me and they're talking. And this guy says, what is your name? And I told him, and we were kind of talking, cutting up and all this. I said, what's your name? He says, my name is Rick Blackburn. And I said, Rick Blackburn. Well, it's nice to meet you, Rick. And he says, what do you do? And I told him what I did. I said, well, what do you do? And he says, I'm the president of Atlantic Records. And I said, oh, really? You're just the guy I'm looking for.
So he had the card, and he said, I got this guy's number. I said, well, hell, let's just call him. I literally, he was sitting in my office, Shelley was, which is in this building right over there. And I said, well, let's call him. So I called the number, and I literally got Rick Blackburn.
And so we called him up, and Rick was getting ready to go to lunch. We called him right at noon, and the phone rang, and he thought it was his secretary, and he picked it up accidentally. It was me and Joe.
And I said, Rick Blackburn? He said, yeah. And I just made up something on the spot. I said, I've got this idea, and I didn't know what it was. And he said, well, I said, like, you don't know me, but this is a money-making big idea for your artist. And I just spouted off this thing called Inside Music City. I made it up on the spot. I said, I've got this idea for a show. It's for CMT. It's called Inside Music City. And basically what we would do is feature all the new artists that are emerging, not the established artists, but all the new rising star artists. And we would be promoting all the new releases through this show. And it would be a 1-minute news capsule on CMT promoting Ricky Van Shelton or Travis Tritt or whoever it might be. Okay, and I just made this stuff literally up on the phone right there. And he said, that sounds great. Can you be here tomorrow? And so I got on a plane. I went to Nashville, and I met him at some hotel. And that day, I met Joe Galante, who was president of RCA Records. I met Jimmy Bowen from MCA. I met all of the presidents of the labels on Music Row. And we pre-sold this show. I think we had between him and me walking through, I think we sold like $70,000 or $80,000 a month from the labels to do this 1-minute capsule. Then we went into CMT, and CMT said, oh, we'll give you the time. You can have the time. We want this show. So we got the time for free. So we ran one every hour, 24 hours a day.
I swear to God, Joe could talk the lead out of a steel post. He's just that good. He could tell you to go to hell and you look forward to the trip. I mean, that's just how good he was. And, so from there we did about 30 videos, music videos. A lot of them shot here. A lot of them shot around the county. A lot of them shot in Nashville. We shot one out there with Johnny Cash. We shot some of the guys that wrote a lot of George Strait's #1 hits. Right here, Dean Dillon. We got him in the studio, shot him here. Did one of his songs. Other than that, it was a hell of a trip.